It brings us immense joy to be a part of such a diverse and a talented list of participants and the audience, of course. Looking at the program, there are clearly abundant opportunities in archaeological research using diversified perspectives and methods, which continue to widen and reinvestigate our understanding of the past. So basically, diversity plays a very important role in archaeology. But why do we need archaeological sciences? Now, okay, you all are doing archaeological sciences. This might sound really, really insane that we're going through over this, but I'm sure you have your own reasons, as I do have mine. So, archaeological narratives, like when you read a text or when you read a manuscript, due to colonization, of course, and regional politics, lack of comparative understanding were often subjected to biases and were written primarily to understand a foreign culture. So, it's an outsider writing about a foreign culture from a non indigenous perspective, and in some cases, even to establish a cultural superiority. It doesn't happen in all cases, but it does happen in some. When nations became sovereign, they didn't do anything different either. Their nationalistic approaches continued to become partial towards these narratives, and the loop of distortions kept on continuing. Unfortunately, for many of us, these narratives are the founding pillars of our literature research. Even though they are ambiguous, they're biased, and they're inconsistent, contradicting narratives and sources that occur across time period. Like, because for my work I do refer a lot of medieval texts, and when I look at the medieval texts, there are distortions even in that. Their contemporaries have not done the justice, they are not aligned, they are not saying the same things as their other people from other region are, and that leaves a room for empirical evidence. Here, tools like archaeometry offer not only in assisting stronger research narratives, they can be important in verifying or challenging, which I think is very, very important, the existing data, strengthening the methodological foundation for the future of archaeology. While literary and historical narratives, of course, remain very important, and I don't have any biases against them, and they are the starting point for any region, any activity, archaeological science does provide additional insights into their accuracy and hopefully contributes to a less biased approach. Of course, the subdiscipline of archaeological sciences continued with its own challenges. So it's not a perfect field, but we will get there in time. Maybe our children will get there, who knows? It has incorrect methodologies, wrong interpretation, it suffers from a lack of data hygiene, ethical issues, and the principal problem still remains that archaeological sciences form a vast array of knowledge and but are always presented as isolated fragments. So it takes a lot of time and effort to put all these fragments together. So it's like pieces of puzzles are coming from different geographies, but they are hardly brought into one picture, which should change. And then there are legacy data, so data of previous researchers, comparative data, which is seldom referred to or commented on. It could be used, it could be challenged, whatever you choose to do with it. The attempt should be encouraged wherever possible to bring together these diverse narratives to form a more holistic or a uniform perspective. The linkages, again, should be naturally possible, and it should not be forced. Just because you want to put everything together doesn't mean you have to do that if it doesn't work. And it helps us in answering our questions to the past, interlinked geographies, ethnologies, and in
Sorry, you are muted. If you can unmute yourself. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
So in a joint project, Cyprus Institute, University of Cambridge, KU Leuven are promoting the use of archaeological sciences in the Eastern Mediterranean region. Through their PROMISE project, they hope to help in integration of the human and scientific narratives from various sites in the Eastern Mediterranean region to form a unified narrative. And we are very, very happy to contribute to their effort there. Now, I notice we have a lot of Austrian colleagues amongst us. And therefore, I thought it is apt to cite Irving Schrodinger, who himself was a very international researcher of Austrian descent. Now, I think most of us know Schrodinger. If not, we have the famous Schrodinger's cat experiment. If not, watch the Big Bang Theory. So, in its essays on science and humanism, Schrodinger explains the value of natural sciences. And I would like to quote him here. It seems plain and self evident, yet it needs to be said that the isolated obtained by knowledge obtained by a group of specialists in a narrow field itself has no value whatsoever, but only in its synthesis with all the rest of the knowledge, and only in as much as it really contributes in synthesis towards answering the question, who are we? So everything we do in archaeology or in humanities answers this same principal question. And we hope to cater and support, the quote ends by the way. So we hope to cater and support and encourage more holistic approaches in future at our respective institutions. As for now, we remain the future. And I will pass the on to my colleague Mahmoud to take it from here.
Thank you, Meghna, for your inspiring and very well-informed introduction. I would like to reiterate what has been said by also including the necessity of international collaborations and inclusivity of local specialists in these international projects, especially in the context of archaeological sciences, since this is the topic of our session today. We all know archaeology was born out of colonialism and imperialism, and this has been quite well documented throughout history. And it is only until quite recently that the notions of colonial approaches and practices have been seriously challenged. While we still have a long way to decolonize archaeology and all its subdisciplines, in our own personal opinion, and we are assuming a lot of people would support our following statement. A very good start and approach that would actually make and produce better science is the simple act of being more inclusive with the local community and academics, only for the reason that it would offer us different perspectives from the same evidence base. In addition to the inherent right of the local archaeologists or specialists who want to study their own culture. Unfortunately, a lot of countries do not have the infrastructure to carry out fully inclusive scientific projects and studies, especially countries that lack proper training and analytical facilities. In addition to countries that are facing political instability and economic crisis, and for so many other reasons as well. So how do we fill in this gap? In our own personal experience, international collaborations are integral to our ever-expanding network in archaeology, especially in this very globalized world. Let me give you an example from my country, Lebanon. So I have been trained in the UK as an osteoarchaeologist who studies both human and animal remains, which is great, of course. But let's say I want to see how many Lebanese zooarchaeologists are out there. So to the best of my knowledge, there are only 3, including myself. And to be honest, I wouldn't actually count myself as a proper zoo archaeologist because I'm more focused in my research on human remains. Of course, this is problematic because Lebanon is particularly large and geologically and culturally complex to have this limited amount of specialists. So basically, we have a remarkable absence in many of the archaeological processes in an important region in the Eastern Mediterranean and the Levant, at least from the zooarchaeological perspective, even despite the efforts of international teams who are actually working to cover this gap. Of course, international collaborations are not easy. They never go as planned, and they usually take years to develop with a lot of dedication. But communication and transparency are key to continuity and progression. So by promoting international collaborations, we can offer local students, local academics, and even local authorities the chance to get exposed to new methods, new techniques, and theoretical approaches. They also get the opportunities to get trained and have access to institutes and universities with state-of-the-art facilities and equipment. So this collaborative approach is more than likely to facilitate and allow the local element and community to design and carry out systematic projects on their own, therefore contributing to the development of archaeological research in their own respective country. So hopefully in today's class, we can see some examples of how international collaborations actually facilitated some of your projects from Europe, including the UK, even after Brexit, Africa, and Asia.